In this No Man's Sky video, we're gonna go over 10 huge things you'll wish you knew sooner. A lot of these are things the game never tells you, and it's up to us to stumble on them on our own and share them with others. So if you've been playing the game and you didn't know any of these, don't feel bad. First up, one of the first things you're gonna have to do is decide where your home base is going to be. And to do that, you gotta choose a planet. So one thing I wish I knew sooner is that it's very easy to find a gorgeous planet. All you have to do is look for a planet with the paradise tag. So scan a few planets while you're roaming around the systems, and in no time at all, you'll find one of these paradise planets. They're not rare at all. When you find a paradise planet that you like, you'll be able to set up your base and always have a stunning place to go back to when you're in between missions. The next big tip has to do with the frigates that you collect while playing the game. If you haven't gotten to that part of the game yet, eventually after saving a freighter from a pirate attack, they'll offer to let you keep the entire freighter for yourself. The first freighter that you collect like this is free. Every time after that, you're gonna have to spend tons of money. So make sure to grab one that you like, preferably its cosmetic appearance, because that's the one thing that you can't change after you collect it. On the topic of getting a free freighter, just be aware that you can only stumble into a new freighter that you can claim every 3 hours and after 5 warps. So you'll need to have warped 5 times and waited 3 real-life hours before the next freighter claiming experience is going to present itself to you. Now, once you have a freighter, you'll be able to collect frigates, so you can manage your fleet. Here we can see some of the frigates this playthrough is collected. These up here are S-class, then you've got B and C-class. In order to collect frigates that you can send out on missions, you have to purchase them. S-class frigates are much more expensive than C-class frigates, but what the game doesn't tell you is that if you send your C-class frigates out on missions, they'll eventually become B-class and A, and then eventually S-class frigates themselves, saving you a ton of money. The next thing I wish I knew sooner when I first started playing was how effective using uranium was compared to the Starship launch fuel. So as soon as you find uranium on a planet, make sure to grab loads of it. Then you can recharge your launch thruster instantly anytime you want to. And best of all, you can hold a massive stack of this stuff in your inventory at all times, so you never have to worry about running out, unlike these little Starship launch fuel modules that can run out very quickly. The next big tip is going to be relatively new to the game, and that's going to be don't sleep on the Corvette. You can make one of these massive ships very easily so that you're driving around in one of these instead of your little spaceship, and there's so many advantages to doing this. And you might put this off thinking that it's overwhelming or if it's difficult, but really it just costs a little bit of units, and I do mean a little bit. It's not that bad. Go do a little bit of a unit farm collecting fossils or something like that, sell those, and you'll be able to afford this in no time. So what you'll do is you'll land at the space station like this, come to the portal, interact with this, purchase modules, purchase basic modules, and then grab one of each of these things, assemble it up here by creating a new Corvette, and you'll be able to place those modules down here, assemble a Corvette out of them, and in the top right, it's telling you if you're missing any essential pieces. Once you're done assembling it, you can finalize it, and don't worry, you can always come back and add to it later if you want to. So don't feel like you have to wait until you can build the perfect ship. You can build what you can and then add to it as you go. Now, like I mentioned, there's a lot of advantages to flying this Corvette around as opposed to a Starship. But first, do you ever crave that old school RPG feel? I've got some great news. Goddess Order is bringing loads of that beautiful nostalgia. This isn't your average RPG. It's a brand new premium side-scrolling action RPG with engaging combat that lets you combo, parry, and dodge enemy attacks. If you're tired of auto battlers, this is perfect for you. This is real-time action where every move you make matters. You can use a variety of skill-based swipe, tap, and tag mechanics to defeat your enemies. Jump in and form a squad of 3 different knights, each with a unique fighting style, weapon, and elemental affinity. You'll mix and match across 5 different classes and elements to build powerful synergies and overcome obstacles you face off with. Tab between each trio of heroes to manage cooldowns and create chain attacks. At launch, you'll be able to choose from over 20 different knights that you can unlock and summon. The game isn't only fun to play, it's fun to look at with its beautiful handcrafted pixel visuals. You can tell a ton of love and care went into each background and animation, making it one of the best looking pixel art games today. So what are you waiting for? Get ready to dive in and unravel this exciting story where a broken prophecy gives you a second chance to save the world. Pre-register now using the link in the description so that you can jump into this amazing new action RPG when it launches in September. Massive shout out to Goddess Order for sponsoring this segment. Now let's get back to the video. One of the advantages of the Corvette is you can put your storage containers on here. So you've got this right here. This is storage container number 1, and we can add more storage containers to this ship. You've got 0 through 9. And if you hadn't noticed, if you build cargo rack 0 here and you build storage container 0 on your base on a planet, those will have the same items in them. Their inventory is linked, and same for 1. So if you build 1 on your freighter and you build 1 on a planet and you build 1 here inside of your Corvette, you'll be able to access the same storage all over the universe. So you can see here, got all my storage, and you can place tons of these down. So storage will never be a problem again once you've built your Corvette. You'll always have tons of storage in here. You can also build a cooking station in here. If you want to cook some stuff, there you go. You can also build a mission hub, so you can accept missions in here. There you go. And it tells you what you would get from them. Mind control device. Cool. 400 quicksilver. If you ever want to just be able to pick up those quicksilver missions on the fly, this is a great way to do that. And then finally, last but not least, you've got a refiner unit that you can put in your Corvette that is a 3-tier, right? You've got 1, 2, 3 inputs that you can put in here, which leads me to the next big tip that I can share with you that a lot of people miss while they're playing through, and that is the usefulness of Runaway Mould. So when you're playing this game and you're collecting viscous fluid and you're collecting slimy fluid, right, you'll run into these various fluids and slimes. You can refine those in here all the way up until Runaway Mould. And then once it turns it into Runaway Mould, you can refine that 5-to-1 ratio into nanite clusters. And this is a really easy way to get nanite clusters. Specifically, if you're on a planet and you see Runaway Mould somewhere, make sure you run over it, grab all of it, and then refine it, because that's going to give you thousands and thousands of nanite clusters for finding a single gathering of this Runaway Mould that's out there. The next big tip has to do with your multi-tool. So there's a few things here that are worth noting. One is, if you've ever been playing and you've been having a hard time knowing which multi-tool you have out, if it's your shotgun, if it's your laser, if it's your terrain manipulator. Well, fortunately, if you're ever running around and you're not sure, you can hit H on your keyboard, and in the top right, you can see there, it says mining beam. And if we hit it again, it says terrain manipulator. And if we hit it again, bolt caster. So you can always see it in the top right if you're ever not sure which one you have out. And that leads us to the next big tip, and that is the terrain manipulator has various sizes. So if we hit T, we can take it to its maximum size. This is going to be great for removing large amounts of terrain at a time or building it up. This is great for when you want to build a tunnel to escape. Maybe you want to go and you want to hide from sentinels. If you run into a situation where sentinels are attacking you and you don't want to fight them, all you have to do is burrow into the ground, get out of their line of sight, and they'll eventually give up and go on their merry way. So that's why you would want to use the largest size. Alternatively, there's situations where you would want to use the smallest size, right? Because there's 3 sizes. The smallest one is the best one for gathering ore. It's going to give you the most ore possible. So every time you use the large one, you're getting the same amount of materials as when you use the small one. So if you're using it on ore, you're removing a ton of ore from your game, but you're only getting hardly any metal. So you would think using the big one on the ore would just be a way of harvesting a ton of it faster, but not so. Actually, you want to use the tiniest one and you'll be able to get significantly more ore out of the same deposit. Tons and tons more, like thousands of it. So always use the small one when you get to an ore deposit and you want to collect ore. It's way more efficient than using the big one and running from deposit to deposit. One of the things that's easy to forget about when you're tens or dozens of hours into this game is that on the discoveries tab, if we back out one, you can upload these discoveries for rewards. So right here, there's an upload all button. So you don't have to tab into each one of these and do it one at a time. You can use the upload all, and then boom, it's going to upload all of them and give you some nanites. The next big tip that I wish I knew sooner when I was playing this game is you're going to want to upgrade your inventory fast. And there's a really easy way to do this. All you have to do is come to the cartographer at the space station, talk to him, exchange for specific charts, and then right here, exosuit upgrade chart, buy 5 or so of these at a time, then go to your inventory, open up the first one, and then just do as it says. It's going to mark it on your map. You'll fast travel there. When you get to the first one and it asks for those 3 ingredients, don't just craft what you need for that one, craft what you need for the next 5. So multiply that by 5, and then it's as simple as completing that, collecting the inventory slot, and then getting in your ship, flying to that next location, and then turning in the 3 materials at that spot as well. And to expand your inventory this way, it takes maybe a minute and a half per inventory slot that you want to add to your exosuit. And you can either add those inventory slots down here to the cargo section, or you can add them up here in the technology section of your exosuit. The next one to be aware of is the fact that by default, if we go into the game's options and we go to network, you can see here that PvP is turned on by default. Anyone can PvP with you. So if you don't want someone to have the ability you to attack you, then you might want to come in here and turn this off. There's very few times where this would actually come into play, but hey, if you just want to avoid that headache altogether, you may want to come in here and change this setting. All right, the next tip has to do with fights while you're in your spaceship. Manually aiming at enemies flying in circles around you can be quite difficult, so fortunately the game has an auto lock system that you can use instead. All you have to do is press and hold S, and it will lock on to the nearest enemy, and you can just fire your weapons at them that way. This next tip is one of the simplest and one of the most important tips. It started out as a bug when the game first launched, but the community loved it, and so they made it a proper feature, and that is punch traveling. So when you punch and use your rocket, it sends you forward, puts you at a nice forward momentum, and then you can keep yourself there just by repeatedly tapping your rocket while you're in the air. So to take advantage of this now feature, all you have to do is sprint and then punch and rocket jump at the same time. It gives you massive momentum. It's by far the fastest way to get around on foot, way faster than sprinting and running out of stamina constantly. So definitely be sure to take advantage of that one. This next tip, you want to be careful how many times you're landing and taking off unnecessarily. Sometimes it's just going to be better to run. And then while we're in the air, it's worth noting that it's dark. So we can see right there, that's a ton of sodium. See how it's glowing yellow? And if you see a big red glowing area, like right there, that's going to be oxygen. So if you're ever needing to farm oxygen or sodium, you can do that. Alternatively, you can shoot things in your ship. And look in the top right, it's farming that for me. The hydrogen, tons of it, carbon. So you don't have to get out of your ship to farm. Remember how I just said you don't want to land more than you have to? I'm getting tons of ferrite dust, especially these basic tier materials. It's going to be a lot faster to do it in your ship than it is going to be to get out with your laser and do it over and over. So not a bad idea early in the game. Just do a little flying around, shooting the ground, fly low to the ground. And as long as you see materials popping up in the top right there, you're doing good. That's fine. This next tip is useful in combat. When you're fighting an enemy and you're shooting your weapon, if you reload before your weapon's completely empty, the reload is much faster than if you wait until the weapon goes all the way to empty and then forces you to reload. So while you're in combat, take advantage of this quicker reload time by hitting the reload button when you still have at least one ammunition left. All right, this next tip is probably one of the easiest ways to make money early in the game. And best of all, it's going to passively supply you with more money than you're going to be able to spend for pretty much the rest of your playthrough. And that is by simply upgrading the scanner on your multi-tool. And as you can see, this one is increasing my payment by 10,191% every time I scan flora, 8,200% when I scan minerals. And so for every individual scan, you get far, far more income. To find these, all you have to do is look for that icon right there when you land at any space station, fly up to it, talk to the NPC, choose to purchase your upgrade modules, and see which ones he has available. You're looking for S-Class Scanner. So this is a Geology Cannon module S-Class. We don't need that right now for this purpose. We need an S-Class Scanner. So here's a scanner module, but it's only C-Class. So we wouldn't want to buy this one. What we would do if the first space station doesn't have a scanner module is switch stations. So you just jump downstairs, head to the next one, choose space stations, and all the space stations you've been to are here. So just pick one you're not currently at. Head upstairs to the same NPC, see at this new station, and look at the scanner module. And again, we've got a C tier one here, but down here, we've got a scanner module S tier. So buy that, go to our inventory, install it, slap it in there, and boom, here we go. Now we get another 6 to almost 9,000% whenever we scan an individual creature. You can stack these until the game is paying you hundreds of thousands of units per creature that you scan. It's absolutely insane, and it's something you're going to be doing a lot anyway, so you might as well be getting paid for it. All right, this next tip is great for saving you a lot of trouble early on, and that's going to be taking advantage of these landing sites. You can see here, if we take off, we used none of our launch thruster fuel, and that's because we took advantage of this little landing site right here. So anytime you see one of these landing sites at your base or somebody else's base, when it turns green, you can press the land button. It's going to automatically land you there. And whenever you take off from here, it's going to cost no launch thruster fuel. So if you've got a base that you're spending a lot of time at, these are great to have there. And then the other nice thing about it is whenever you spawn into that base, your ship spawns in on your landing pad, as opposed to, you know, Catawampus somewhere near your base. Man, is this game gorgeous. Holy cow. Now, a lot of times when I make these videos, the best tips come from you guys down in the comment section. So be sure to leave your favorite tips down below. Whether it was something that you wish you knew sooner or something you couldn't believe you didn't know until you were 100 hours in the game. That's all for this video. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to help us out with the algorithm. If you're looking for more information about No Man's Sky, be sure to check out my complete beginner guide, where I go way more in depth on every single topic, showing you how to play this game, all of its systems, so that you can play this game with confidence. I'll link that in the description below. If you're not sure what to do next, maybe check out one of the videos popping up on screen right now, and I hope to see you in the next one.